So what are we up to tonight? Uh, Gonna finally dive into this video I've been talking about making, taking apart the old 5.3 that we blew up and figure out maybe we can get some insight on what happened. So I've got it on the stand. I've got my table set up. Just need to grab a couple tools and we can start taking it apart. Hopefully find something showing in the bearings and the rods, crank, look at everything. I'm gonna document it all, and then I'm gonna get a second opinion with Dustin, who does all my machine work on the block. He's been building motors for years. See what he thinks. Looking at the data logs, I've always had kind of a low pressure issue. Once we started, really making some passes on this car, I've always thrown it at the front sump problem, but the 6.0 that's in there now, I actually changed to just a standard volume high pressure pump versus I've always had the high pressure high volume pump. And I'm actually seeing 70, 80 PSI going on the track versus pretty much everything before. It's been around 30, which I know can't help. So that is a difference in what we've got going on now. I can't say for sure that's the issue, but I'm sure it didn't help. There's lots of opinions as to what pump you should run. The bearing clearances that we have had in this motor and the one before, not that it had this catastrophic failure, but have always just been kind of a standard spec. Haven't really ran, loose bearings, if you will. So ironically, in my head, I would think you would see higher pressure, but I don't know. Maybe it's a bit over me, but let the comments run wild with that. But anyways, let me grab some tools and we'll go ahead and start taking this apart and see what we find. So we've got the block here, ready for teardown. Step one is going to be taking the rod bolts out, get the rod and piston out. We'll go ahead and put them on the stand over here one at a time. And then from there, we'll go ahead and get the side bolts out of the main caps and then start pulling the studs, get the main caps out, and from there we'll get the crank out. And at that point, it's pretty much disassembled since I've already taken most of the parts off of this. Obviously this one's probably not coming off, so we'll get it all apart and then from there we can do a little deep dive on the bearings and try to assess the damage fully, figure out what was going on and go from there. So we'll go ahead and get started pulling the pistons out. Okay, got my socket. We'll start at the front here and work our way back. So go ahead and take out number 1 and 2. I guess we'll go ahead and put number 3 in its place. This one. As well as number 4. 5 and 6 looks like they got some stuff into them, so they might be a little tricky getting these bolts off, but we'll see. Yeah, there we go. I don't know if you can. Yeah, there's got stuff in it, but a bunch of crap in there. But you can see they all have pretty bad wear. All right, let's get 6 out. Okay, at this point, I've got all the pistons and rods out. Of course, this one's still sitting on the crank. I don't even know if I can get a socket on those bolts. I'll try it here afterwards. So next step, we'll go ahead and get everything out for the mains and get those off, and then I can pull the crank out and look at the main bearings as well. Okay, so at this point, we've got all the hardware out. Time to pull the main caps. We'll get those off, and then we can start taking a look at the crank. Alright, so we'll remove all the main caps, and on the LS, I assume on all the LSs, anyone I've seen, all the caps are marked, they're numbered, so we'll go ahead and take them out, get them on the table, and go from there. And that came out pretty easily. Normally they'll fight you, so with the block being half apart, yeah, see, that one was fighting a little bit on the bottom, but again, I mean, there's wear on here. I'm not an expert in what's what, so I'll get them out, take a look at them, go from there. Yeah, a lot of heat. There's 1, 2. Yeah, this one pretty much just fell out. Yeah, I mean this. I don't know if you can see it in the camera there, but this bearing is just toast. I mean, it is just done. And I can't say if there's thrust issue on the back here, or you know, if that was caused after the fact. I did put a bypass on the trans cooler line after we first got this together. Noticed there was pressure issues, so put that on, and now it's, you know, in the healthy realm. So this bearing is just destroyed, absolute toast. Again, I don't know how long one of the other bearings went, and we just kept driving on it till it finally said see ya. Number 4, I mean, it's got some heat here in the shoulder. The bearing stayed on the crank, which, and let's see if I can get it out of here. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they all have shoulder wear. Every one of them. Last one here. Yeah, see, the back ones look the best. Can't remember the process of which direction the oiling goes, but that one actually doesn't look half bad, surprisingly. Alright, all the mains are out now, so pull this crank out. These things are not the lightest thing in the world. Yeah, let's see if we can take a look at the bearings. Yeah, so I mean, kind of the same thing. That one, the main one in the middle here, the thrust bearing has got wear on it, of course. I don't know. The crank is trashed. It's already... Oh, almost dropped it. Yeah, so I mean, there's just heat all in this thing. Obviously, this piece is trash. There's giant marks on the side of it where other stuff got into it. It's just no good. Let's see if I can take this without dropping it again. Yeah, and of course the cam, which I just set back in here, which reminds me of the other rod bearing dropped down in here. Snake that up. I think that was for, what was that, number 1 rod bearing. So get these gloves off and kind of just give you a rundown of what we're seeing here. Got all apart. Here's the crank, a little up close. Yeah, pretty bad. Bearings, I don't know how much you can see, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, you can see that all the block is so beat up. What's left of pistons and rods, and let me just grab one of these caps. They all pretty much look like that. Main caps. You can see the heat. See the heat. For sure. So, anyways, it's all trash. As I've said before. We'll need a complete rebuild. So anyways, as I've said before, I mean, it's all trash. Block, everything. There's nothing really salvageable in it. Even the cam has got some pretty bad marks on it. So I'll get it together, take some photos, probably take pieces over to Dustin. We'll look at it and see, but I'm no expert as to what happened. All I know is it blew up, wasn't happy. So we'll figure out what's going on, and I'll try to post an update as to what we find. But as for that just a quick teardown, show you what it was. I don't know how much you'll even be able to see, but the main thrust bearing had a lot of heat into it, which was right next to the rods that let go. So I don't know if that's what we're seeing or what, but either way, that's what we found. So thanks for checking it out.